think a lot of students have just gotten another sense of how to belong and how to create relationships outside of what were the traditional avenues.
And a lot of my students talk about how they feel safe in the esports program, and that's their family, that's their community. And I think that esports gives kids a future that they might otherwise not have.
Man, I wish that had been available when I was in high school.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our coverage of the PlayVS Fall 2019 Championships. I am your host, Nekra, for all of the action tonight because we've got a special treat for you, and it's more Rocket League and more League of Legends. We were just in Alabama, and now we travel to Alaska for the Alaska School Activities Association's first official season of esports in Alaska. How exciting. Our 4 finalist teams are on site at the University of Alaska Anchorage, where we'll be kicking things off with Rocket League, followed by League of Legends. For Rocket League, we have Mount Edgecumbe High School versus Dimond High School Lynx. And to bring us our coverage, we kick it over to Perino and B-Cop.
Thank you, Nekra, and welcome everyone to the desk. My name is Perino. I am joined by my co-caster, B-Cop. B-Cop, we have some phenomenal Rocket League action coming up for everyone this evening.
Yeah, it's 2 high schools that are at the top here in Alaska looking to do what they do best, and that's play some Rocket League. And obviously, I think they're way above where I am at in terms of Rocket League. And we were talking about it before about how we wish we had this when we were growing up in high school. And, I mean, this is one of the games that I think I'd definitely be all about. Like, this is my winter sport.
I must say that I have more than a few hours played of Rocket League, certainly more than a few, and I think it is a phenomenal game. It is absolutely one of my personal favorites. It's such a simple game on the outside, right? It's cars, it's soccer, and it's rocket boost. Whoever scores the most goals wins, but there is so much depth to the game. There's so much skill. There is so much anticipation and trust in your teammates that you need to succeed. I am really excited to see what these 2 schools from Alaska can show us today.
So when it comes to that, like, what's the biggest factor you think? You were talking about communication. Like, is that the biggest thing for these high school kids who maybe, you know, are just kind of growing in that chemistry, growing in that communication? Is that the biggest thing they need here, or is it more like it's just weighted on scale or weighted on communication more?
It's 100% on trust. You need to trust your teammates to be in the right spots and to make good touches. If you don't have trust in your teammates, you will never succeed as a team. Again, to get to this point in the bracket, we are at our grand finals, by the way. You have to have that trust and communication to get here. I'm really looking forward to see it. But, guys, let's jump over to our bracket. We will show you the path that these 2 teams have taken. Mount Edgecumbe coming in as your number 1 seed off the top, taking down the Kodiak Bears and the Knights to get to the final.
And then they're up against Dimond High School. This is looking to be, you know, obviously the top of the top. This is the matchup we've been waiting for, and we'll see who takes it in the best of 7 in this Rocket League matchup. Are you going to flip a coin here? Are you going to take a side, or are you just looking to see the best Rocket League you can?
Well, I'm always a fan of the best Rocket League that I can see. However, I have to give a shout-out to Mount Edgecumbe. They are undefeated this season. They have a 21-2 individual game record. So of 7 best of 5s, they have only dropped 2 games.
Wow.
That is over a 90% win rate. Really, really solid from them. I think they should be considered the favorites going into this. But let's be clear. For Dimond High School, they have also fought to get to this point. They are still a really good squad, and I expect them to put up an absolute monster of a fight.
So is this looking more like a David and Goliath situation where you've lost 2 games all season and you're Goliath and you're up against David, hoping that this time the story kind of changes a little bit?
Somewhat. I imagine whenever you have a team that comes in undefeated, you have to expect them to continue that streak, right? It's such a difficult task to do because you have to stay so focused and so prepared for what any team throws at you. But this is the best team in the tournament, right? You have to be ready to experience a little bit of that pushback. You may have rolled on some teams early on. You may have done really well in the beginning, but these are 2 really talented rosters. You cannot underestimate anyone.
Yeah, so to be the best, you have to beat the best.
Of course.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting setup. Like, these guys are the best, and do you have enough? Do you have what it takes not only to do that 1 game or 2 games, or maybe even 3 games, but do you have enough to break out and beat them in a full best-of-7 series?
And that's such an interesting element of it as well, is that in the regular season, these games are only best of 5. When you add the best of 7, it drags out that series, right? There are more chances to score, but there are more chances to concede. You really have to be focused up and ready to go. I think these teams are ready to go at this point. They've been working all season for this. At this point, you just have to play and have fun.
Yeah, this is a moment that they've been waiting for. But if you maybe get a little bit too serious, you lose your head a little bit. You want to be still having fun. This is still something that you enjoy, and that's something that brings you to that next level as well. Because if you don't enjoy something, I feel like you kind of lose your skill a little bit. But the more you enjoy it, the more you have fun. I think that's just that extra little bit you need to really be towards the top.
Of course, and in addition to that as well, it's more fun when you play with your friends in person, right? So again, huge shout out to the University of Alaska Anchorage for hosting this event for these guys, because they can come in, they can come with their teammates, they can get set, sit next to each other, you know, on the desk together, playing with your buddies. Winning and succeeding in person like that as a team is so huge. You don't get that opportunity very often. Not often in high school, collegiate, or even sometimes professionally in Rocket League.
Yeah. Do you think there's a little bit of a difference now being on LAN than there is online? Like, you have to trust your guys even that much more.
Oh, there's 100% a difference, because you're away from your home setup, right? You know, you play your games from home. Normally you have, you know, whether it's in your school or just within, you know, your home residence, you know, you're used to the monitors, you're used to the controllers, you're used to everything. I expected to make a difference, but guys, we're going to jump right into it. This is game number 1, and already we have seen a quick lead jump out here, 30 seconds through, and it's 2 goals in the favor of Dimond High School.
Yeah, Dimond High School already breaking ahead, and it seems like being up 2-0, it's a good spot to be in, but one of the things they say, and I compare this to hockey, is a 2-goal lead is never the most confident lead, because 1 goal gets you a little bit of confidence back if you're behind by 2, and then 1 more brings you right back in it. So let's see if Dimond High can hold on to it as they're on the offensive zone, coming across, and right as they say it's 2-0, it's 3-0. They're right on it, less than a minute in.
And this is a really smart play from Marshall, just taking his time. He beats that last man there. Notice how he delays that touch on the wall and then drives with force through that ball, gets it right past the defender, straight into the net. Dimond High coming out on fire early on.
Yeah, they're already up 3-0. They'll be back in the defensive zone. Marshall trying to clear it for now, as it goes right towards the center of Itzy and Fitzy, who's in there with the first goal for Mount Edgecumbe, and they lower the deficit from 3 to 2.
Yeah, and Fitzy capitalizing perhaps on a bit of a communication error from Dimond High. Neither player really going to challenge the ball. Fitzy will take that shot 100% of the time. He gets a free look, and he buries that one.
Yeah, and that's something you need, is a quick goal coming through for Mount Edgecumbe to take away this deficit that they were under by 3, and now it's just 2. Again, you get a little bit of confidence back. You look to maybe put it down by 1 and eventually get over to that tie, and we'll see if Dimond High can hold their lead. Marshall clearing it through all the way towards the center, as Shade Slayer will bring it all the way back down onto the Dimond High side, but again, it's just a back and forth really quickly, as Zero Pixel over there with Icy back over on the Edgecumbe side.
I think both teams are trying to slow it down a little bit here, find those big defensive touches, and buy your team as much time and space as you can. We've seen a lot of offense.
That's really bad. Fitzy whiffs there, and Zero Pixel gets them down by just 1. It was 3-0 to start this off in the first minute, and with the last minute themselves, Mount Edgecumbe have put themselves down by just 1 goal.
Yeah, and again, it's the defensive mistakes from Dimond that have allowed them to come into this game. As you can see, they're all 3 defenders looking at that back post. No one really in a spot to come out and contest. But you give credit to the shooter as well. You have to bury them when you see them.
Yeah, you always got to be ready to just put them in. And this might be a little bit of Dimond High just finding a bit of nerves. 1 goal goes in, and all of a sudden you see that lead shrink. And from so far out, Zero Pixel ties it up. Mount Edgecumbe down 3-0, 3 unanswered. We've got ourselves a game, a barn burner on the big court.
Are you kidding me? What a response from Mount Edgecumbe. Dimond High School came out with an explosive offensive series. But just like that, they turn it around, they jump right into it, and 3 goals of their own. This is absolutely phenomenal Rocket League.
And this has got to feel like sky's the limit right now for Mount Edgecumbe. As long as they can keep Diamond High out of it, I feel like they just have all the confidence on the field right now.
As they well should, considering the looks that they're getting. That one nearly there for Fitzy.
Zero Pixel bringing it down and towards the center once again. You've got 3 defenders there ready to just blast it out as Edgecumbe. They're still trying to set something up as Diamond High need to really clear it out. And they finally do get that opportunity to be in the offensive zone. Marshall from the center just puts it in, and they've got that lead right on back.
And Marshall with another great individual play here. Just makes the read off the corner. He recognizes the defender is not going to make the touch. He's in the right spot. Just hits the open net. The goals have not slowed down.
Now 7 goals in less than 3 minutes. This is definitely a way to start off a best of 7. And it's Diamond High getting the confidence back and clearing their heads. Now they're back in the lead. They're 4-3 with 2 minutes to go. Fitzy was trying to place one down the center. And again, a defensive mistake. Icy, though, just can't put it home as Fitzy will finally clear it out and get it on over into the Diamond High side.
And it buys so much relief when Fitzy gets that big clearance. You push that ball all the way down the field, and you turn the pressure right around back onto Diamond High. Mount Edgecumbe, they need to get on the board.
Quick save there from Nutlike as Fitzy was trying to get in there with a quick shot. Zero Pixel. He's got a defensive mistake once again, and it's 2v1 here right by the net. And looking to just keep it out of the net is Shadeslayer as Icy comes in with the finish. They were up 3, they were even, and now they're back up 2.
What a great contest from Marshall here. And a nice read from Icy. That is not a difficult, or not an easy thing to do, excuse me. That ball bouncing off the crossbar can really go anywhere, but he gets up quickly and he scores it when it's open.
Now Icy taking advantage there of another defensive mistake, and well, it's 5-3, still enough time here, as we've seen, to get 2, 3, maybe even 4 goals, but Fitzy from downtown puts it in for Edgecumbe to put them back down just 1.
Well, I would certainly agree that there's more than enough time considering the scoring prowess of both of these teams. No lead is safe, I feel. Just over a minute to play, and it really can still go truly either way.
Now this game, despite the 1 goal deficit, feels like it's anyone's game still. A lot of time remaining. Fitzy right there, but a big save from Marshall. Shadeslayer trying to tap it in, and he will! Gets it all tied up with 1:14 to go. Like you said, no lead is safe.
And that's such a great initial save from Marshall. He gets up and he makes a great contest one-on-one, but it's not enough. Shadeslayer coming up on the rebound, putting it through. Level terms again. This is just craziness. I love it.
And here's the big challenge for Edgecumbe. They need to now find their first lead of the game. They've been able to tie it up, come down from 2 major deficits, but now is the time with a minute remaining to finally put yourself over Diamond High. But at the same time, Diamond High just off the side. Oh, it got just that close.
That post can be your best friend and your worst enemy. In that case, it was your worst enemy. So close to just bouncing post and in, not quite finding the angle there, and allow Mount Edgecumbe to sort of reset their attack.
So Shadeslayer puts it down. Marshall trying to clear it out as he gets destructed right there. Icy, though, trying to keep it out of the net just in front, really ready there for maybe 1 more touch to come in and to put it away, but the clear is out. As Zero Pixel puts it down and right back over onto the Edgecumbe side. Fitzy looks over, but there are numbers back for Diamond High to make sure this one gets nowhere near the net. Marshall towards the front, off the crossbar again. The keeper's best friend, however, not a second time as Icy puts it in to regain the lead 6-5 with just 12 seconds to go.
And look at that little fake. Look at that little fake from Nutlike, excuse me. But he just doesn't quite make the touch. It allows both players to push up and join the attack. Mount Edgecumbe need a very quick answer, 10 seconds.
10 seconds to go. They just need to tie it up, hope that they can maybe get to overtime. They need to keep Diamond High out of the offensive zone, and that's going to be the one that locks it up. It's the dagger here for Diamond High, putting themselves up 7-5 with just 3 to go.
And just such nice offensive pressure and rotation. I mean, clearly it's working for them. They've got 7 goals to their name. But what a way to come through and just give absolutely no chance for Mount Edgecumbe to come back in this game.
Yeah, when you seal the deal like that, it's got to feel good. Just a second more, and it will be that first game there for Diamond High in this best of 7.
Wow, that is one explosive start to this series. I must say that became a shootout and a half, a total of 12 goals in that game. But ultimately, Diamond High coming out ahead.
Yeah, Diamond High peppering the net. They were always playing offensively, and I think both teams were. I didn't really, there was some little smidgens of defense there, but for the most part, both teams were up front, playing forward, and obviously that hurt both of them. But Diamond High coming away with 7 goals in that first game.
Yeah, I don't expect to see a second game of that many goals, but you never know. I would hope that most teams in this spot would try to adjust, bring some more defense to the game, but we'll see. Game number 2 getting underway.
At least for Diamond High, you know, don't fix what's not broken, and peppering the net, keeping the offense forward might be their key to victory here. They do have a 1-game lead coming into game 2, so let's see what they can bring as we come on into the first minute of this second one. It gets cleared out by Fitzy, but right back on it is Marshall. That's on net. A little bit high, doesn't even hit the crossbar. It was on there. If he had maybe a guy to back it up, they pop it in, but still, again, this is peppering the net and keeping it forward.
Yeah, Marshall also displaying some really nice technical skill here, doing a good job of following up his own touches, making those reads at speed, generating this offense as it nearly comes through there.
Icy on that center, just looking to put it away and unable to do so. Got 3 guys back, numbers back here for Edgecumbe as finally it's onto the Diamond High side. It feels like for this first minute, it's been all Diamond High despite the score being still even at 0.
It certainly has. They've just gotten the better of the pressure, really. A good save there from Shadeslayer. But Diamond High, they're so effective with their rotations. They're cutting off the passing lanes for Mount Edgecumbe, just simply not giving them any space to work with on defense and in transition.
Yeah, Diamond High keeping it forward, now playing a little bit more defensively. This one, it feels like the first time Edgecumbe in this game has had themselves an opportunity to maybe go in net. But again, we see here up in the air, Marshall just wide. Again, he is just putting shots on here, and eventually, I mean, something's got to give.
Yeah, Marshall doing a really good job.
Woo, almost an own goal there as we're starting to compliment the guy. He almost puts it into his own net.
But hey, close only counts in horseshoes. It does not count in Rocket League. That ball has to cross the entirety of the line for it to be considered a goal. Marshall maybe a bit fortunate there to get the bounce that he needed, but still, it all works.
Ooh, Marshall to Icy with the one-timer to put it in and get themselves the first goal of the game. And that, you know, this time it took 2 minutes to get 1 goal.
And again, I'm giving Marshall a lot of praise here because he is playing really well. It's such a nice touch out of the corner. He gets that little finesse pass in front of the net. Very easy finish for his teammate. Nicely played.
And to know you have someone like Icy right there feels absolutely outstanding. And Icy, with just 6 seconds off the clock since the last goal, he says, let's double the lead.
Yeah, I think Icy might have heard me, giving Marshall too much credit for that goal. He said, no thanks, I can do it myself as well. Just putting that ball off the ceiling and just on the inside of the post. A nice 2-goal lead now for Diamond High.
So again, the 2-goal lead, is it going to be one that holds? In the last game, 3-goal lead, 2-goal lead, they weren't really known to hold. And is it going to be a little bit different in this game too, as Icy looking to set up once again to put them up 3, but ends up shooting it a bit wide as really Edgecumbe need a clear here, as it is again just constantly on the offensive zone for Diamond High. And Nutlike puts it in, and that's going to be the 3rd here for Diamond High. 2.5 minutes left to go, and a 3-goal lead into the hands of Diamond High.
Marshall's passing has just been so effective in these first couple of games here. Look at that beautiful touch out of the corner. Beats both defenders to the backside where he has a teammate waiting. Just a really nice setup and a really nice goal.
That's one of the things here with a best of 7 that kind of, yes, going down a game, going down 2 games might be a little bit stressful, but you've got time. You've got time to bring it back, and you still have time in this game. We saw, 3 goals happen in a minute and a half in game 1. For sure, Edgecumbe can find themselves a little bit of a streak here and bring it on back. But Diamond High, they're the ones trying to reject it, as that one just leaves itself right in front of the net, and Marshall puts it in for a 4th.
Yes, he is just absolutely popping off now. He makes a really nice read there, understanding where that ball is going to bounce off the side of the post there. Just getting up quick, getting up early, not giving defenders a chance to recover.
So 4-0 here is Edgecumbe. Is there a point where you're down to where you're going to try and strategize for the next one, or are you still have enough time here with 2 minutes to be all in?
I think with 2 minutes, you can certainly still be all in. We've seen how effective Mount Edgecumbe can be at scoring. That first game, they had 5 goals of their own, so there's certainly no reason to give up just yet. But you do have to send everything forward. You do have to commit fully to your attacks now, because you do need a lot of help with just under 2 minutes.
And sending yourself fully forward is going to make the net that more open for Diamond High, so it really means that you can have no mistakes.
Absolutely. They have to play picture perfect, but Diamond High will have something to say about it.
It seems like Diamond High, for the most part, are just trying to park the bus in just keeping it away from Edgecumbe, not giving those opportunities to put any shots on net. Just gets saved there by Fitzy, almost a 5th for Diamond High, and that's some of the defensive endeavors that Edgecumbe are going to face, is just the continued pressure from Diamond High when a ball gets past the defensive arrow like that.
Right, and for Diamond High, there's really no reason to let off the gas. It's been working for you so far as Marshall just absolutely skins the defender here. What a shot from him.
Icy putting it up, Marshall coming back around, and right past Shade Slayer puts him up 5. And this is looking like it's all she wrote for game 2, but again, luckily, you still got a best of 7 to work with. So don't fret too much on this game 2 if you're Mount Edgecumbe. We've seen reverse sweeps before. We've seen them happen. You get one game, and all of a sudden, you got that confidence back as, again, Not Like tries to bring it down right by the edge of the goal, and Shade Slayer pushes it away, but Marshall, again, right there to clean up.
Marshall just going absolutely ham here. Not Like gets a really nice bump there on Shade Slayer, just taking him completely out of the play. There's absolutely no contest. I really like the trust that Marshall has, though, for his teammate to make that play. He sees his teammate coming across, he understands what he's trying to do, and makes the jump very early to get the goal.
Yeah, it seems like communication has certainly been key here for Diamond High. Not making as many defensive mistakes right now as Mount Edgecumbe. They're on offense. They know who's going to be towards the center. They know where their passes want to be to lead their teammates, and it's been everything at least rolling on the same lane for the side of Diamond High. And Fitzy putting the first one in here for Mount Edgecumbe. Maybe a little bit too late, but it's something to work off of.
It is absolutely something to work off of. It's a nice contest from Fitzy there. He's just trying to cut off the passing lane between the two attacking players. Does a really nice job, and he sets it up for himself. It's not going to be enough in this game, but it's something to build upon for game 3.
Yeah, if you know you can put him in, that means you can obviously do well in game 3 to get yourself down just 2-1. So it's looking towards the future. It's not just looking at right now with 10 seconds to go.
It certainly is. And again, you have to give so much credit to Diamond High. They're just playing absolutely out of their minds. This one might roll in.
Does it have enough time? It does. Just as the buzzer hits, 0 Pixel puts in the second for Mount Edgecumbe. Again, one that was kind of more with Diamond High putting pressure on forward, but something that Mount Edgecumbe can maybe build around coming into game 3.
Yes, it will be something that they can try to build upon. But oh my goodness, the onslaught of attacking play that they had to go through from all of Diamond High, but Marshall in particular, my word.
Yeah, Marshall 5 shots on net, and I think he had, what, 4 goals?
Not to mention all the assists.
Yeah, and really Diamond High just as a whole, they know where they're going to be. They can kind of have that chemistry. They have that communication to lead your teammates to find the net, and they were taking shots that, you know, didn't go in. But again, it's keeping that offensive pressure on, which I think they were in the offensive zone for a majority of those 5 minutes in that game.
Oh, absolutely. It's so instrumental to deny the defense the ability to transition the ball out. When you can rotate through and maintain that pressure, it's so effective because eventually the defense will make a mistake and you will get your chance.
So now Diamond High up 2-0 in this best of 7, just 2 games away from taking home the title. But this one's up for Fitzy, just a little too high on it, and it's a goal there for Marshall.
Marshall does such a great job individually here again. He gets a really nice double touch and then another one out of the corner. Just putting it through. This might get ugly.
It was just an awkward spot to be in for Fitzy. He wanted to clear that out, but you didn't have the momentum. You were up towards the top. It hits off that crossbar and then just kind of loses all momentum on it. And Marshall How many times he's there, he's ready, he's like, all right, if you're going to put it towards the center every single time, I'm going to be there to put it away.
I'm actually going to give a lot of credit to Icy on that one, too. It's a really nice pass off the kickoff there. He gets underneath the ball and flips into it, just getting it outside of the post, bounces right across to who else but Marshall, and he doesn't miss those.
Definitely sounds like a sitcom, who else but Marshall. We'll see if he's able to get the hat trick, and it might be a natural hat trick here, but for right now, Edgecumbe in the offensive zone for what feels like the first time in a couple of minutes. It's up in the air for Marshall, who ends up making a bit of a mistake, but there are players passing this ball left and right. Nobody really finding themselves the right spotting to either clear or take a shot for either side.
And it's a lot to ask for Mount Edgecumbe here, as they're already down 2 goals within the first minute of this game. But I think they just have to start isolating Marshall. They got to start looking for him individually. Try to bump him off his game, try to find the demos, whatever you can do to disrupt him, because he is just on absolute fire, and he will tear your team apart if you're not careful.
You need to make sure that he's not in the slot, able to just put one in. I mean, he's there right under the net, and every single time he's going to put him away. He hasn't made a mistake just yet. And this time on the defensive zone, Marshall goes for the clear, but Fitzy from a long way out is going to be just a bit too high, as again, Marshall there looking to clear it away, and Fitzy looking to negate that clear.
I actually really like this sequence from Mount Edgecumbe. They're starting to work together. They're rotating well in midfield and in offense. They're not allowing Diamond High to break out, but watch out for Marshall.
Marshall bringing it into the offensive zone once again. Zero Pixel pushing it away, but Marshall, he sticks with the ball. Somebody check the bumper, because he sticks with it more than I've ever seen before in Rocket League. And again, it's just Edgecumbe feeling like they're playing pressure defense, and they need to find a way to be forward a bit more.
Well, I'll tell you what it is. It's that very nice looking titanium white Fennec, that extra little decal in the game to give you that little push. It's certainly helping out here. He might have picked that up earlier on the item shop today, just got released.
Yeah, you got to get yourself that extra little $2 on the car wash. It's all just on the edge there. Fitzy with the save. So close for Diamond High to take the 3-0. As Fitzy puts it in, it seems like a one-man job right there. You get the save, you get the score, and, well, now you're down just 1. This isn't the same as last game where we saw Diamond High up 4 or 5 goals. Now they're up just 1, and a lot of time to play.
And this is what I mean by finding that isolation. Fitzy there taking a shot. He can tell that Marshall is not back on defense. He's trying to isolate away from the best player on their team. He finds his opportunity. He takes it, but they still have to do more work.
Marshall puts it up high. That one might have hit off the crossbar, but again, it's another save here for Fitzy, who feels to me like a bit of a one-man wrecking machine for Edgecumbe, but at the same time, he's had some help here, and that's what got him that goal to put them down just 1. As Shade Swear stops it up towards the slot, and Marshall's going to clear that out. Zero Pixel putting it all the way down to the offensive zone once again, and who other than Marshall to be back looking to just clear it out on their end. Fitzy, ooh!
What a
just
save!
the post, and a save from Nutlike. That was as close as it gets.
What beautiful anticipation from Nutlike there. He reads that the attacker's going to have another touch, just covers that close corner in the upper 90, takes it away. That's a phenomenal stop. They're going to need more still, though. 90 seconds for an equalizer.
Now looking to dig deep here with just 90 seconds to go. You definitely don't want to be down 3-0 in a best-of-7 where everything's the last chance effort, and Zero Pixel going to keep it on the offensive zone. Fitzy right behind him, but they've got no third guy to just pop it in, something we've seen Marshall do for the side of Diamond High. Marshall again on the edge. Somebody put it in. It's going to go in itself. Marshall with the hat trick, and the metaphorical hats are all over the arena.
Yes, Marshall, just a great individual play here. Sets it up for himself right off the crossbar, follows up his own touch. We call that a double touch here. Just slotting that home right underneath. That ball bouncing on the goal line, but eventually crossing all the way over. And that feels like it might be a bit too much.
Again, a minute to go. If there's anything to take from these previous games, it is the fact that Edgecumbe can put it in the net. And we saw in that first game that there was a lot of scoring. It's definitely calmed down in games 2 and 3. But again, we need to find Edgecumbe having that opportunity. And that is something that they just haven't had much of since game 1 or game 2. And again, off the crossbar, back down, Nutlike. He's going to join in,
All right,
and he's got himself a goal.
Pay attention to the skill here. Look at Marshall, the way he lands on that ball. He generates an extra flip. Where your flip resets when you connect with all 4 wheels on the ball there. It's such a dynamic, unexpected play. Sets up his teammate beautifully off the crossbar. Just really undeniable talent from Marshall.
Yeah, he's been lighting it up, and there just hasn't been much of an answer so far from Mount Edgecumbe. Again, this is a best of 7. Marshall, again,
Settle down.
yeah, to save some goals for the rest of Diamond High, as that's going to be his 4th of the game. 80% score rate for this team just this game. How many does he have in this series alone? He's got to have close to at least 15.
I can't keep track. It's an immense amount of talent that he's putting on for us today. Again, with that flip reset, you can see how dangerous it is to get that extra touch off the ball and trying to generate that extra bit of power. My word, just really, really nice.
Yeah, Marshall wearing the number 99 right now, peppering him in like Wayne Gretzky does. And, well, I mean, it doesn't look like anybody's going to be able to slow him down, as, again, he makes a move, but Fitzy right there, making sure he stays off the board. But just 7 seconds to go before Diamond High take this 3-0 lead, and it will be one there for Fitzy, who's got his 2nd of the game.
Yes, and again, a saving grace from Fitzy here, just jumping when he sees this chance. Icy trying to come out and correct the error. It's not quite enough, but either way, it's not going to be enough to change the outcome of game number 3.
Yeah, just 3 seconds to go. I just don't think it's possible. That one's going to be up in the air and finally hits the ground. And, well, Diamond High, they find themselves 1 game away from complete victory, a potential sweep here. What do Mount Edgecumbe need to do to kind of just pull themselves back into it?
I think they really need to focus on building that offensive pressure. There were moments in that game, and in game 1 especially, where they were able to create a sustained level of attack over the course of time by rotating through. The problem is that Marshall has been really good individually on just breaking it when he has his chances. If you're Mount Edgecumbe, you just got to focus on maintaining that offensive pressure. It's the only way you're going to be able to keep up.
Yeah, Marshall has been just a workhorse right now.
Oh, my God.
And it's not even like, obviously we're harping on the fact that Marshall's being that good, but his team is there too. And it's, you know, it's not just Marshall making the play, getting, you know, making his own opportunities. He's there, you know, with his 2 teammates. I mean, we've seen Icy and Nutlike just be right on it whenever Marshall needs another push.
Yeah, we highlight Marshall because of the great technical ability and skill that he's demonstrating for us. But to Icy and Nutlike's credit, they're in the right spots. They're making great plays of their own. They're allowing Marshall the ability to succeed individually. Again, when you have a player that is that dynamic, it can be difficult to work around, but they have clearly developed a system to allow their whole team to succeed.
Yeah, and it's Diamond High really putting the pieces together. This is something that we said you need to do. If you're going to take the championship right here, you need to be the best. You need to beat the best. And, well, this is what Diamond High is doing. They're being the best. And I just, for Mount Edgecumbe, to me, it seems like they've got a large mountain to climb.
Well, to get through at this point, they are looking at match points, so it would have to be a reverse sweep to pull it off. It is a tremendous ask of any team in any situation, regardless of your sport or the event. It's exhausting to try and compete for that many games and being forced to win 4 in a row. It's a lot to ask.
Yeah, so this is the point where you dig deep, you find everything that you've got, everything that's led you to this point, put it all together, and hope that you can get that reverse sweep. I mean, we definitely saw hints of that ability there for Mount Edgecumbe. Like, these games haven't just been blowouts. We've seen it. We've seen Edgecumbe show the talent on why they're here.
Oh, absolutely. They're still a very good team across the board in Mount Edgecumbe, and they, as you mentioned, demonstrated that scoring ability. The issue is when it breaks down and when you fall behind, can you recover that initial spark that you had, right? We saw it in game 1. They put 5 past Dimond High School. They clearly know how to do it. It's just, can you recover? Can you find the resurgence to go all the way from games 4 through 7 and take them all down?
I think one of the things here is they need to lead with a score. They've been constantly playing off the back wheel, if you will. And they need to really start forward. They need to be the aggressors. They need to be there first. A lot of these 50-50 balls, they're not getting to. They're playing with defensive mistakes, hoping that they can maybe play seemingly like a counter and, you know, initiating. if that's my Dota leaking there right in that moment. But it just feels like they're trying to sit in the defensive area, and if something, everybody comes forward from Diamond High, they're going to take it, get that clear, and go forward. But they're not getting that opportunity. You see Diamond High peppering the net, keeping it forward, not letting the ball get back on their end.
And one of the big things with that is actually managing your boost as well. So, you're only allowed 100 boost in the tank at any point in time. When you burn through it all, you have to allow yourself the opportunity to get back out and recover it so you can maintain the speed of play to do so. When you're on offense for that long, or defense really, and you're stuck in that same spot and you can't rotate around and find that extra boost, eventually you're going to make mistakes. You're going to either concede a goal or allow a goal to, come through on the other end. It's just a very dangerous spot to play in. You have to be able to break it if you're Mount Edgecumbe, because the pressure that they've been under has been unreal.
Yeah, and it's only going to, get higher and higher at this point. When you're down to match point, this is as much pressure as you're going to feel, is being on that last step. You've got nowhere else to go but forward, and they have to start making that move.
Guys, we're going to take a quick break. We will be back in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. We want to see the finale of this Alaska State Championship. We'll be back in just a moment.
There is a stereotype for women.
I think a lot of students have just gotten another sense of how to belong and how to.
Sometimes the male players get a little snarky, and sometimes I do have to put them in their place. 1v1 me, bruh. Come at me. I was bullied relentlessly in school, so video games became my escape. And eventually I started entering tournaments and making a name for myself. A lot of people thought it was a joke, but I was really excited. I went before our Board of Education and presented the case for eSports. We talked about the benefits of playing video games. You build teamwork, critical thinking skills, problem-solving skills, communication. These are skills that companies are now looking for. And also, I brought up the child that won $3 million in Fortnite and discussed how students had a future with eSports if they could win money and go to college on scholarships. We made an announcement 2 days after the board approved, and I had about 450 students show up, and it was a little overwhelming to think about how am I going to teach students how to play this very complex game. There are a lot of different types of students in my program, and I have a lot of students who say, they come to school for eSports. They know that they need to do well in class. Otherwise, their teacher will call me and I will come up to their classroom and sit in that class and make sure that they're doing what they need to do. A lot of them are now maybe at B's, when earlier they were C's or D's. I had a student graduate last year. He told me that he was going to drop out, that he didn't like school wasn't for him, and then we announced eSports, and that's kind of what saved him, and he graduated, and now he's in college. That meant a lot to me. I tear up a little bit every time I think about that child. Every school really does need an eSports program, simply because, in my personal experience, a lot of these kids that play eSports, for various reasons, they can't play a physical sport. But eSports is it's online, it's at the school. It gives students a place where they can feel safe and they belong, because back in the day when eSports and video games weren't mainstream, you were bullied relentlessly for it. And a lot of my students talk about how they feel safe in the eSports program, and that's their family, that's their community. Being an eSports coach means to me that I have a huge responsibility to these 65 children that are in this program. Despite the fact that I have no idea what I'm doing half the time, they are counting on me to give them guidance in this game so they can win and go to playoffs. It's more than just being a coach, it's being there for students who might not have anybody who's normally there for them. It's about encouraging them, loving them, and showing them that you can do something like this and be good at it and go off and have a future.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the desk. We apologize for the technical delay. We are underway in this series here between Dimond High School and Mount Edgecumbe. B-Cop, are you ready to get right back into it?
I don't think the break affected me at all. I hope it didn't affect them because we were seeing some really high-end Rocket League, and I hope they're ready to just get back into the driver's seat and go because those first 3 games, they flew by. And, I mean, we saw some amazing Rocket League from, specifically, I'd say, Marshall. And I think I'm ready to see more of that from both sides, from both Mount Edgecumbe and Dimond High School. I want to see what they've got, especially backs against the wall, ready to try and go for that reverse sweep. Let's see. Empty the tank. Let's see it.
I 100% agree. You have to just throw everything out there. You need 4 straight victories, and you know how good your opposition is. But you've also demonstrated that you can compete. So I want to see Mount Edgecumbe. I want to see them come out firing on all cylinders. I want to see them making great saves, scoring great goals, and giving us a great series.
Yeah, if all they got to do is get the ball rolling, get the wheels rolling, and one game all of a sudden turns into 2 games, get that confidence, you build it back, a reverse sweep. I feel like as much as it looks so difficult,
It's daunting.
it is for sure daunting, but you've been here. You're here at the finals. You can do this. I think any team to make it this far has to have the skill to get a reverse sweep, to be in this spot where you've got all this pressure on you to win 4 games in a row. Well, the reason you're here is because you have that opportunity and you have the ability to do so.
Well, we will find out what this Mount Edgecumbe squad is made of as they jump right out to an early offensive pressure here. We're getting Game 4 underway.
Yeah, so that's what Mount Edgecumbe needed to do in these past 3 games. Have more offensive pressure, have more offensive presence, and kind of do what Dimond High were doing and put those shots on net, pepper the net, and do what you can to make an opportunity come your way. It doesn't have to be pretty, it just has to go in.
It just has to work, but I am sure that Dimond High will have something to say about it. They are not going to want Mount Edgecumbe to get any foothold back in this series. They are looking to get that sweep.
Yeah, so when you're hanging off the edge like this, Edgecumbe might have to make some more risky plays, and that one's going to end up right on center and right on cue. Marshall's in there with the first one for Dimond High, and they've got a lead, potentially the series winner right
Just
there.
a really nice double touch from Marshall here. Gets the first touch off the sidewall. It's not great, but he makes the adjustment. It's dropping right in front of the net, finishes it himself. Again, great individual technique and skill.
That's the individual effort from Marshall that has really put them up on not only this one, but all 4. And there, we were talking about Marshall, let's talk about not like he puts them up too. And you've got to feel good, up 3-0 in games, up 2-0 in the 4th one. It's got to feel like you're on top of the world.
It certainly must, and great presence of mind from Nutlike there. Just recognizing he's in the 1v1, he places that ball into the bottom corner behind the defender. Absolutely 0 chance at saving that one. And Dimond, they just keep going.
Yeah, Nutlike puts that one in, and maybe they've come from the plan of if they're gonna play heavy on Marshall, we've got our other 2 guys, Icy and Nutlike, who are gonna be able to pick up the load, and they've got themselves a 3rd goal, up 3-0 in a minute. But we say that's 3-0 in a minute. I'm thinking game 1. That was exactly what we saw in game 1, and then all of a sudden, Mount Edgecumbe, they brought it right on back.
They certainly did, and I'm thinking if you're Mount Edgecumbe here, you just have to be careful. You can't let this get out of hand. You need to find those defensive stops, and you need to find the transition play as that one rolling around dangerously in front of net.
Yeah, Marshall off the post, and again, it's just Edgecumbe, a little bit of defensive mistakes here, not really putting on as much momentum onto this ball to get it clear where they need it. And now you're seeing the results of that. Dimond High keeping the pressure up, keeping the offensive presence there. And finally, it feels like Edgecumbe have broken the half line and gotten into the Dimond High zone. And they're going to put one towards the net, but Icy and Nutlike are right there to just slap it away and clear it out. Ooh, Icy, and another shot there from Marshall. Icy gets the assist. Marshall with a 2nd, and it's 4-0 Dimond High.
It's such a nice touch from Icy there. It doesn't go in. I know he was trying to put that on frame, but it just breaks the defense in 2. Nobody really able to come out and contest Marshall. He does have the read on the ball. and it is just an absolute robust performance from Dimond High.
Yeah, Mount Edgecumbe really need to find their way back into this, and it does start with just one, but they need to make it work, and now they finally have an opportunity here, but Mike's right there to hit it away and clear it out. It's to just about the half line as Fitzy puts it right back into the offensive zone, and Fitzy has been definitely the shining light here so far for Mount Edgecumbe. Let's see if he can get something started for the team.
Yeah, I agree. I think Fitzy has really generated the most spark from Mount Edgecumbe in the spots where they've been able to find attempts at goal and find plays together. This one's still bouncing around. I think Fitzy is going to have to do a lot to get them back in this.
Yeah, Marshall off an aerial and puts it in for another hat trick. Dimond High up 5-0. The hats come out once again for Marshall, and again, Dimond High find themselves up by a huge margin.
I mean, it's just great for Marshall. We can't say it enough. He's been absolutely popping off in this series. He did not let that technical pause affect him whatsoever. Right back where we left off with him.
Yeah, it hasn't calmed down. It's turned into a highlight reel for Marshall, and it seems like it's Marshall's world, and we're all just living in it right now. But for Mount Edgecumbe, again, they need to dig deep. They need to find their way in, and it's going to come with a couple of quick goals. They need to find something here. They need to make an opportunity happen. And again, what we've been seeing from Dimond High is when they get themselves up, they kind of shut down all avenues that Mount Edgecumbe think that they have.
Yeah, and Mount Edgecumbe just struggling, I think, to develop that presence on offense as a shot comes in there. They just can't quite find the follow-up connections to really build the pressure. And when you give Dimond High space, well, it's not pretty.
Almost right on cue, Marshall puts one to the back of the net. Icy there, but, well, the post is going to be Mount Edgecumbe's best friend at the moment as he keeps it out. And by he, I mean that post. So Icy again trying to set up the side of Dimond High just to maybe extend this leader again. Something that we saw earlier, kind of park the bus, make sure that Mount Edgecumbe don't get any shots on net, and just secure the lead, secure the series.
Yeah, and as we just cross the minute line here, I'm not sure that Mount Edgecumbe will be able to mount a comeback. It would take nothing short of a miracle at this point for them to equalize this game, to even try and send it to overtime.
Yeah, so 5-0 lead here with a minute left to go. Not like with another save here as Fitzy puts one on net. Finally here for the side of Mount Edgecumbe, and again just off the marker there. And it's just constantly Dimond High right there and ready for any shot that comes through.
And this just feels like a little bit too late for Mount Edgecumbe. You can see when they're rotating well. Look at that challenge from Shadeslayer. Gets the challenge, gets the bump, forces a mistake from Nut, and he's able to score, but it's just too little too late.
Yeah, and that's something we saw from Mount Edgecumbe that's probably going to look the best in this series, was finally dragging two players out of position. Nutlike's the only one who's there to get a defensive stop on it, and he's unable to do so as Mount Edgecumbe finally put their first one on the board. But Nutlike right on in the offensive zone, looking to get that one that they gave up right on back.
Yeah, and if you're Dimond High, I see no reason to stop here. You still have to play it out. 20 seconds to go. You have to give everything your all at all times. It's the sign of a great competitor.
Yeah, so they're just trying to put another one in net, get something going, and obviously, 10 seconds to go. This may not be the way you wanted to go out, as now Marshall again with his fourth of the game, and I think if my math is right, he's 20th of the series.
Something like that. I haven't been able to really keep track, but just a standout performance from him. A really convincing series. It will be a clean 4-0 sweep. Just really, really stand out from Dimond High.
Just 5 seconds to go as Dimond High just keeping the ball on the ground, getting that overtime, or not overtime, that extra time out and gone. And there it is, Dimond High completing the 4-0 sweep.
Yes, and in what dominant fashion they did, really showing amazing technical prowess. I know if we had to give a series MVP, it would no doubt be Marshall. His ability to find teammates in passing lanes, to score individually, to have the presence of mind to make defensive touches, really, really great player in all phases of the game, and it showed.
Yeah, he was seemingly the shot caller there. Obviously, we don't have them in our ear, but it definitely seemed like what Marshall does is going to be the basis for where Dimond High are going to be. If he wants Icy to be in the center, if he wants Icy to be on the point, he's going to be there because Marshall somehow, I mean, with those amazing touches, is going to get the ball towards the center. Icy's going to be set up for a goal, or even Marshall just taking it himself and putting him on net like we've seen him do a dozen times at least.
Yeah, and I think you do have to give a ton of credit to Marshall's teammates. You do have to accommodate him in the best way that you can. I thought Icy and Nutlake did a really good job of just being in the right spots. Having faith that Marshall's going to be there and do crazy things, but also when you're called upon, you need to be able to score and pass yourself.
Yeah, you can't just let those opportunities come and whiff them on by. And, you know, if Marshall's getting double-teamed or if Marshall's being away from the ball, I mean, that's Icy and Nutlake making sure that they can take advantage of that double team or take advantage of the lack of pressure now towards the center and putting it in and giving themselves the extended leads, the 5-1s, the 6-1s that they had multiple times in this series.
And I also want to give a huge shout out to Mount Edgecumbe as well. I really do think they played well in this series. They clearly showed they had that spark in that first game, coming out with 5 goals of their own. It just wasn't enough. They happened to run into probably the best player in the league. The result is a bit unfortunate for them, but I thought they really did play well overall.
Yeah, you got to give it up. You came this far. You're there for a reason. The results maybe aren't what you wanted, but at the same time, you got to be proud. You got to be excited that you made it this far and you were able to show that you have the ability to get to this point.
Of course. But ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for us here on the desk. Thank you so much for watching this series. I hope that everyone had a great time. That will be it for me and B-Cop here. We'll be tuning it back over to Necra in just a moment. Thank you, guys.
So much B-Cop and Perino, and what a phenomenal series. Once again, Mount Edgecumbe ended up putting up a valiant effort, but at the end of the day, it was actually Dimond High School that takes home the championship, so congratulations to them, and we're actually going to be seeing them a bit later. This time, their League of Legends team taking on East High School right after this break.
I was always told growing up, it's gonna rot your brains, it's a waste of time, and then like now I see where eSports is at, and my family and I at home, we watch the League of Legends Championship. One of the students here at BC, he came to me and said, hey, we're really interested in starting an eSports team. Like BC needs an eSports team, and can you help us? I was a little bit apprehensive because I did not play video games and I wasn't sure what it would all entail. But then that same student came to my door almost every day the first week of school and said, have you talked to the principal? What's going on with the eSports team? It's really because of the students. They were the ones that I felt like, because they're so interested, I think I can do this. My team, they never played League of Legends before, and them going from starting out just at the basic beginnings to now they're in the 30s and seeing how their team work, they're strategizing, and they've basically taken ownership of our team and run with it. It's been fantastic. At our school, leadership is really encouraged and admired among the students. With eSports, my students get an opportunity in a different way than what maybe traditionally would be thought of as this is a leadership role you would have. So we have a team captain, we also have a team coach, and they really work really well with the students to kind of bring them together, and they are the ones that outside of school, they're practicing. We get 3 hours of practice a day. They come in at 7 a.m. in the morning and they're waiting for me. They're like, hey, we're ready to go. Can we come in? Can we practice? Originally, we were practicing 3 days a week and they were like concerned they weren't getting enough practice. They were like, can we do more? Can we squeeze in another day? So they wanted to do 5 days a week, but I was like, let's start with 3, let's build up to 4, and if we make it to playoffs, then we'll go to 5. They are just so motivated to kind of like take ownership of it. They basically decide beforehand what their bands are, who's doing what position, because I really would not have that kind of knowledge. And even though I don't play as much as they do, you know, you have to admire somebody who's built up their skill set. They've had to put in a lot of time and energy in order to be so good. And then when I play, I go like, wow, this is a lot harder than it looks. It has been wonderful watching how good my students have gotten in such a short amount of time.